They say that it takes two to tango, but it only takes one old saying to start off about 25,000 astrology videos. Because have you ever noticed how many astrology videos start off with those old sayings? Especially mine. But hey, that's beside the point. What's really important is, why does it take two to tango? And in saying it takes two to tango, does that mean that to do the salsa you need like 5 or 6? Or to do a samba you need 3? And if you want to do a line dance you need like about 25 or 30? Well, you know what? That's beside the point. And you know what? Maybe all of this stuff at the beginning is all beside the point, except that one saying that we're going to go back to, which is the fact that it takes two to tango. But let's try to understand why it takes two to tango. And why specifically the tango? Well, the tango is a pretty romantic dance, or it's a passionate dance, and probably in some area of your life at the present moment, you're finding yourself entangled, well, if not in so much of a romantic dance, at least in a dance of passion with one individual or one situation. And so it takes two to tango. But it only takes one person in that tango to trip over their own damn feet, and the whole thing goes off balance. And it only takes that one person to trip over their own damn feet and to not accept responsibility for doing that, for the entire tango to go, hey, you know what? I don't even want to tango with you anymore. I don't even want to talk to you anymore, right? So the fact of the matter is, in one such area of your life, something has gone wrong. Maybe you're not to blame quite as much as you have responsibility. One part of you may feel tempted to not accept responsibility for that very thing that has gone wrong. Right? Wrong. Right? Wrong. And in which such area of your life are we talking about? Well, that's going to depend upon where this new moon is falling in your horoscope, planets that it's making aspects to. And for more information on that or anything else, please feel free to schedule in a consultation with me through the Astrological Services page of my website. You can find a link to that above. So it's that pattern that we fall into when something goes wrong and we have responsibility for it. We don't like feeling guilty. We don't like going into those vulnerabilities or those feelings of regret in a situation. So sometimes we find ourselves in a position where we either try to sweep it under a rug a little bit and go, oh, the reason that I tripped over my own feet was because of that rug down there, right? That's why I tripped over my own feet. Other than that, I never would have tripped over my own feet because I'm a really good dancer, and you know how good of a dancer I am. Or if we don't sweep it under the rug, we try to go, it was your feet. No. I was looking down at your shoes and I began to get a little bit dizzy and then I tripped over my own feet. So it was really because of your footwork that everything went wrong and that my thing went wrong and then the whole thing went wrong. So, don't blame it on me. But in reality, again, it's not about the blame game. It's about the responsibility game. You did something. Own it, right? There's nothing wrong with owning it. There is something wrong with once you've owned something that you've done wrong, with then, kind of giving yourself a hard time ad infinitum about what has happened, regardless of how badly you feel about it, or regardless of how negatively you begin to think of yourself in association with the situation. Going into depth with, oh my goodness, I did something wrong, and giving yourself a hard time ad infinitum, it's not going to serve the situation. Perhaps that momentary feeling of regret does serve a purpose. It helps you to realize and to recognize the root of the problem. But from that particular point, it's really just a step of accepting responsibility, making the changes if you're able to do so, and moving forward with it. But quite often, we fall prone to not wanting to take a look at that And instead, we project whatever's gone wrong in a particular situation upon another person or upon somebody else who's involved in a situation that we're involved in if it's not specifically a relationship that's going on. We tend to, at work, we can go, okay, well, that went wrong with that project because of this, and et cetera, because we don't want to take a look at our own responsibility. So when we hide from that responsibility, that unlooked at, unfocused on portion of ourself gets projected out onto the world around us, and we begin to pick somebody to point the finger at. And in pointing the finger at that person, maybe on one level we're kind of going, I can't handle pointing the finger at myself, so I'm going to point the finger at a projection of myself. Because the more you look at that other person that you just pointed the finger at, the more you find a striking similarity with an aspect of yourself. Okay, so now you're going into that level of thinking where you're going, okay, so if I'm going through this, doesn't that mean that the other person I'm involved in the situation with is going through a similar thing? Doesn't that mean that they also have responsibility in this situation and to this situation? Well, of course it does. But can you change them? No, you can't. So again, what good is pointing the finger going to do? Pointing the finger at them, they have to be willing to accept responsibility themselves. So the big thing to do is to take that look at yourself, to make an honest and sober assessment of what you've done wrong, being strong enough and just noble enough to step up and be honest and go, you know what, that was wrong. Let's fix it. Let's take these steps. Let's rectify the situation. And indeed, if you do that, you open the door for the other person to do the same. But if the other person goes, you know what, I don't really want to step through that door, well, doesn't really matter. You've taken care of the side of it that you can be responsible for. And at the end of the day, ultimately, that's what matters. It helps you to live with yourself. It invigorates you and gives you strength to move forward. Because when we take that good, honest assessment of ourselves, and when we accept responsibility for what is actually going wrong and the part that we played in it going wrong, once we begin to rectify those steps, it's like a huge burden that's off of our shoulders. Why carry that guilt around? Why carry that responsibility around when instead you can go, all right, let's release it. Let's just accept it. Let's take the steps to fix the situation and let's move forward. And indeed, this is a time for great forward motion and great progress. But you first need to be willing to take a look at your own role in a situation and what you can do to set right a wrong that has been done. And if you could use a little bit of help with that process, again, I do offer several different levels of astrological service. All of these are available through the services page of my website. If you want to schedule in with me, you can do that through the link above. That's going to do it for this look at the new moon in Purva Ashadha Nakshatra, which takes place on the 2nd of January, 2022. Got the year right. Ha, you thought I was going to get it wrong. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.